My dad's girlfriend is really cool. Should I ask my math teacher to adopt me? I don't love my daughter. I never ever thought I'd say those words, but I also never thought I'd give birth to a psychopath either. She isn't even a teenager yet, and I'm terrified of her. She's the devil. She's manipulated everyone outside of family into believing she is sweet, kind-hearted, and polite. I'm constantly getting complimented on her manners and how she looks out for the younger kids at school, but at home she is a completely different person. My husband, younger daughter, and I live in constant fear of her. Asking her to do something as simple as bring her dirty dishes from the dining room to the kitchen can result in hours of her screaming at us and insulting us and throwing things at us. She's been this way since she was a toddler. We've taken her to doctors and gotten nowhere because she flips the switch and they see the mask she presents to the public. I'm suicidal because of her. All I want to do is take my younger daughter and run. If I could leave right now, I would. I've looked into admitting her into psych wards. I've looked at surrendering her. I've even considered giving up my other daughter just to protect her from her sister. It is 3 a.m. and she has begun fighting for 6 hours because I told her to take her garbage, 2 items, to the kitchen. I dread vacations, weekend, break from school because then she'll be at home and we'll all be on eggshells waiting for her to explode. I'm incapable of loving her anymore because of how she treats us. When I look at her, all I see is a monster and the worst, meanest, most vicious bully I've ever met. How about filming the incidents and actually showing what you are dealing with to the doctors? My sister's like that. We're in our 40s and she is still tearing our lives apart. I'm not saying this to make it worse for you. I just want you to know the reality of the situation. If left untreated, your daughter's behavior will escalate. I second the hidden camera idea and encourage you to get help for your youngest child. I wasn't allowed to talk about the things that were going on. It definitely had a negative effect on me when I was a teenager and I have trouble connecting with people as an adult. I would have loved to have someone I can confide in besides my school friends. I would have loved the support from someone with the maturity to understand that nothing that was occurring at home was normal or okay. Hi, I am sorry for your hard times, and I can't imagine how utterly devastating it would be like to feel like you. But that said, to get her help, you have to prove to doctors and social workers and psychs that she needs the help. In your case, I think cameras that film her outbursts would help. Put them up all over the house without telling her, and then show it to the doctor. I have a daughter I had to do that with, and she is just a teenager. Good luck. Whatever you do, do not abandon the other daughter. Is this not being recorded or filmed? Please do so and let the doctors know. If what you're saying is true, something is very off. You need a child psychiatrist, not psychologist. A brain scan is needed as well. You need to get these outbursts on video so that you can show them, because the school will have completely different records. Please document every time it happens, the time and the amount of time. Please include diet and any extracurricular activities. This switch interests me. It shows me that she's capable of good behavior even if it's fake. Either something is seriously wrong at home or you are dealing with a possible personality disorder in which she will slip up and show her true colors to the world at some point. Other issues like schizophrenia, autism, and ODD would show up outside of the house as they are not controlled. I'm worried about how this will continue to manifest as this does not get better without intense intervention. I went off on a homeless person and I'm not sure if I should feel bad. So I just graduated this year as a nurse and got a job working at my local hospital. On my walk to the hospital, I pass the same homeless person every morning. He has a camp set up. Sometimes he's minding his business and sometimes he asks me for money and I say no, sorry. Well, this morning he asked me for money again, but this time with more aggression in his voice and I said no. Walking past him, he proceeded to throw an empty bottle of Coca-Cola at my legs and then his dirty blanket, which he missed, and proceeded to scream something like, "You're a doctor, you can afford my food, yet you don't give me stuff." I stopped in shock at this point, but something overcame me, to which I replied, "I just graduated with a nursing degree. I have almost 6 figures in freaking debt. I don't owe you or the likes of you anything, while you lay in your own piss all day, beg for money just to do a bump, and wait to die. Get a job." He didn't say anything back, but I immediately started walking during my last few words. I felt like some rage came about me, and I never took myself as the person to speak that way. I honestly don't know if I should feel bad. Nurse outside my work got decked by a homeless person for saying nothing at all. Stay safe. My boyfriend encountered an aggressive homeless man while driving home from work years ago. The guy was adamant about getting a ride even after my boyfriend politely refused him multiple times. This light bulb of a human proceeded to spit in his face, and my boyfriend, who was never violent, punched him almost immediately. Guy deserved it for sure. I see nothing wrong with this. The moment he lashed out at you for his problems, he deserved to hear that everybody has them. Homeless people are people too, and people can be assholes. I don't think you need to feel bad. Someone threw something at you and they were aggressive. Your reaction was totally justified in my book. Not that you need any validation from me. He lashed out at you, you lashed out at him. You could have been the bigger person, used better phrasing, but hey, this guy literally threw stuff at you. Nobody's perfect, and you can't be empathetic 100% 24/7. I get a huge kick out of paying for people's stuff when they can't. Yesterday, a young guy ahead of me in the grocery store had about 92 SEK worth of groceries, and he'd forgot his card. I broke out my card and paid for his stuff, even over his objections. He wanted to pay me back, but I just told him not to worry about it, just do something nice for someone in the future. A few years ago, my wife and I were at Costco, and the young couple ahead of us us were trying to use EBT to pay for their groceries, but Costco didn't take EBT, so my wife and I offered to pay for their entire order. It was almost $400. I didn't hesitate, and it felt so good to be able to do that. We're not a wealthy family, but we are better off than some, and it just seems insane to not help people in those moments, especially considering that I know full well how embarrassing it is to rock up to the grocery store clerk and not have the money to pay for things. I've had a few more experiences like that, and I actively hope for more, just for the serotonin hit I get from helping people. I completely get this. I'm not wealthy, but I've worked in the airline industry for years, and I've always collected a huge number of air miles, etc., with all the various airlines and alliances. It can be a very boring, lonely existence, but every one of the biggest buzzes I've had come from giving someone a flight or upgrade when they didn't ask for or expect it. These are things I could never afford to do with cash, but it's been no bother at all to me to just use points to put a smile on someone's face. Good for you for paying some good forward. If you're genuine, it's a lovely thing, and thanks for not wanting to be buried in the ground with your gold. I had a homeless guy outside of Goodwill ask if I can buy him clothing. I was like, hell yeah, come on and pick what you want. Spent about $40 on him. He got pants, 2 shirts, a hat, and a backpack. I tried getting socks, but they had none. Cool thing to help out rather than give out money. When I was making good money, I would bless a small amount of people on Facebook. I wouldn't give them money, but if they needed diapers or a bill paid, I would call and pay it, or I'd send gift cards to grocery stores if I could. It actually got to be great that I started having people donate to be able to help. I've been in those situations where it's been pay for this bill and be without food for a week, or pay for groceries and not have electricity or water for a week. When I'm back on my feet, I will be doing it again. It's fun. One of the most attractive things about my boyfriend is he's always buying other people's dinner, and he asks that they not be told until after we're gone. One of my favorite memories was being in line at a clothing boutique behind a woman who was paying on her layaway items. Once she left, I paid it off. I ate a whole family-sized cake in the parking lot. I was 8 months pregnant, and I had this insane craving for chocolate cake, so I went to buy one. As soon as I got in the car, I knew I couldn't wait to get home. I got the cake and sat in the back seat so no one would see me. There I sat eating an entire family-sized chocolate cake with my hands. I don't know what came over me. This was almost a year ago now, and I still haven't told another soul. Thank you. That is all. You got that vitamin chocolate you needed. My only negative thought is how messy. I wish you had a fork. You didn't sit in the back with the cake because you didn't want to be seen. You sat in the back because you didn't want to share. I bet you and the baby enjoyed it thoroughly, but I hope you got some milk too. Life is hard. Eat the damn cake. I'm 5'0" and on the thin side, but binge eat on my occasion, and my family has held 2 interventions fearing I'm bulimic because nobody can eat that much and keep it down or gain weight. The f*** I can't, Doris. When I was really depressed, I would eat an entire pizza by myself. Don't feel bad about it. Usually when people crave chocolate, it's because the body is looking for more magnesium. OMG, chocolate is my #1 lifelong craving. All day, every day, but since getting pregnant, my doctor put me on a magnesium supplement, and the craving has significantly died down. I was just telling my husband how weird it is that I'm craving vanilla cake, because usually I only eat chocolate, but I just really want vanilla, and plain vanilla sugar cookies. I'm a chocolate chip cookie person, never a sugar cookie person. If we're talking about those crappy grocery store sugar cookies with the cake icing on top that is just disgustingly thick, and they taste like sand, and they come in those plastic containers, those are gross, disgusting. I unapologetically ignore hints on purpose so people will be direct like an adult, and will continue to do so. Miss me with that BS. Same here. I play completely dumb. It's maddening to feel someone trying to manipulate you to volunteer for something, relying on your good nature. Adults are indirect all the time. We all talk in parables. We all get nervous to say directly what we mean to say, and it doesn't make us immature, and if it does, then a lot of times it can be more of a personality flaw and not representative of everything about who we are as a person. That's something I wish more people would understand about flaws. Now, they're not always indicative of a constant way of going about life, meaning that one immature behavior doesn't mean that every behavior is immature. It's reasonable to want people to be direct with you, but it's a little mean to consciously ignore indirect statements when you know what people are trying to say just because you don't like hints. We all miss hints all the time, by the way, and that's just a part of life. We realize we miss them, and we ask for clarification, or we just make a mistake and it never fully resonates. Either way, there are worse things. What you're doing is fine, but it also seems kind of mean and elitist. Except there are people, like autistic ones, that don't even recognize those said hints. They don't ignore them, they just don't see or understand them to begin with. So yeah, people should be more direct. Throwing hints will just make the situation worse and more confusing. I've always done this. It just bothers me. My sister had a habit of walking into a room, sighing, and then looking at you, so I ignored her. If you have something you want to talk about, just talk. I'm not asking, so you're not alone. I do this at work. I do this when I know people have a problem with me or something I did and gives hints of act passive-aggressive. I'm not going to come to you. I don't have a problem with you. You have a problem with me. My work life is harmonious. Yours are not. I do this when I feel like I'm being manipulated. Also, me. When do I need this by? Them. ASAP smile, lol. So like, when do you need this by? End of the day is fine. I can't stand vagueness. Please just be direct. ASAP means shh. nights when I have other priorities. Secretly leaving money. My friends are a young couple with a young baby. Money was already tight, and dude lost his job today. I was at their house today, and when they didn't see, I took $50 from my wallet and left it in the place where one of them will find it, and I think, oh cool, I must have forgotten about this. I'll emulate you. That action is worth emulating. I did this with my father after my mom moved out. He worked his ass off and barely held himself. Me and my brother housed and fed. I started hustling a little bit to make some extra cash for myself, but would hide money in his pocket, car, etc. when I could. I will never forget the face he had when he came home with 3 steaks for dinner and a rental DVD after he found $100 in a winter coat. He was so happy to finally get us something extra. Best steak I ever had. Another thing to help out could be to take note of what diapers they use for their kid and pick some up when you're at the shops next with a, I was at the shop and figured you need these. It's simple and sweet gesture that would probably mean a lot to them. That's really great. Even if they know it's not theirs, they still won't know for certain who left it there. Faith in humanity is slightly restored. You're a great friend. The world needs more people like you. When I was broke, I always fantasized that my friends would do that someday, and as far as I know, they never did. Maybe they were too good at it. Sometimes when I shower, I like to turn the water a bit cold, sit down, and pretend I'm a frog in rain. Sounds fun. Gonna try it next time. Tried this, and it was so relaxing. I wish I was always a frog. Thanks for sharing. This is pretty cute, and also a little strange and embarrassing. Perfect confession, 10 out of 10. I like to put YouTube videos on. Rain on a tent is my fave. Close my eyes and pretend I'm there. Every response to this is liberating. We are all human beings who just want to sit quietly under the shower, pretending we are little moist froggies sitting on a leaf during the tropical monsoon. Thank you, friends. I like to pretend I'm a duck stomping in the rain. I'll give the frog thing a go. Saw a completely different side of the guy I'm dating. My date. He always seems like a calm, composed, focused, serious kind of person. He doesn't post much on social media, doesn't have a large friend circle, doesn't talk too much. A kind of guy you'd think works for some super secret services. We've been on a couple casual dates and he spends good time with me and opens up a little, but I always feel like there is so much that I don't know about him. So this happened yesterday after our third meetup. We went to grab dinner. He wanted to drop me off at my place in his car, but I insisted him to walk me off as the place is pretty close to my apartment. We were walking down the streets and I noticed a stray kitty and I showed him the cat. He just turned into something I never expected to see. He walked up to the kitty, started petting her, talking to her in a sweet, cute voice. His voice is pretty rough. Looking at him was like seeing a toddler get a toy they've wanted for too long. Seeing him like that was so wholesome that I couldn't stop my tears of happiness. To everyone saying this isn't a confession, is a clickbait, is misleading, etc., it is a confession for me as I can't share this with the people I know and wanted to share an experience I had with others, hence I decided to post it. About the title, it is literally what I experienced, and I had never seen him act that soft and cute, and that is a side of him I'd never seen. I don't know, I don't care, and if it comes out as clickbait because I didn't intend it to be one, thank you. This is definitely went in a much better direction than I thought it was going to. Lol. When a person is kind of animals, that speaks volume in my eyes. Swear you were working your way up to him killing the cat. Jeez. I'm sure I'm paraphrasing, but how we treat the most vulnerable is a measure of our humanity, and I've always believed that. Me halfway through the second paragraph, oh god, please don't say he kicked the cat. Me after finishing, aw, OMG, that's perfect. Most dudes are like this. He's not afraid to show himself to you. Why the fuck is this in confessions and not wholesome, right? Really clickbait too. So what exactly are you confessing? That they need attention. I read my boyfriend's notebook. It's not a diary or anything, it's not hidden, he's just got several notepads lying around the house with lists, song, lyrics, etc. Well, I couldn't resist having a flick through, you know what it is. Then I came to the page which says, you are a beautiful human being, and I'm all the better for knowing you. You are a fucking nosy bastard, though. I am well and truly rumbled. He's not the soppy type at all, unless under the influence, so this is very sweet for him, but I can never confess to him I have seen it. So now I confess to you. You should leave little notes for him to find around the house. I love when the non-sappy type gets sappy for a second. My partner drew a heart on my dry erase calendar like 2 years ago, and I still to this day haven't erased it. I just don't make plans on the 19th. He already knows. That's why he wrote you're a nosy bastard in it. I'm sure he knows. Right? You too. Right? No, I'm not. Definitely doing this. Thank you. He really nailed you. He seems to know you pretty well too. Today I found out what the weird whispering noise is upstairs. My fiance pretty much always has her headphones in, loves music. She has music quite loud, so she will text me to say that she's got headphones in so that I don't accidentally scare her by creeping up behind her, etc. If I'm going upstairs, I'll call or text her to avoid getting her a heart attack. We've learned from experience. Sometimes though I hear an odd whispering. It's like someone is yelling, but whispery yelling? Aggressive whispering, I guess you could call it. I did the unthinkable and silently crept upstairs to see what she was doing, what the noise was. I found her arm in arm with the cat, holding her outstretched, singing to her, whisper singing, to our cat. I've never seen something so perfect in my life. I feel like I fell in love with her all over again. I love my little family. Not gonna lie, I was expecting something like, I don't know, she really cheated or other really creepy stuff, but this was so wholesome. This is objectively the best story. Something similar happened to me as well. Third day I got my cat. My cat got attached to me and she was giving me cuddles. I was listening to Little Peep on TV and I started singing one of the songs. My cat fell asleep on me. That's so cute. Don't ever let her know though. She might get embarrassed by it. I want a wife like this someday. I'm manifesting it. Got my groceries held hostage because I didn't tip beforehand. I'm done. I use a delivery service that brings my groceries directly to my door. It's been a great help and saves a ton of time. It's a dice roll whenever you get your order though. There are definitely some questions questionable people doing deliveries, and I've had a couple bad experiences, so for that reason, I choose not to tip until after the service is complete. I tip anywhere from 10 to 15%, and I think that's reasonable and fair. I usually tip more if I order heavy items like soda or bottled water. Really, I don't think tipping should exist at all. I can't tell you how annoyed I get when I have an iPad shoved in my face by cashiers, people handing you your to-go order, and even the freaking guy that fixed our air conditioning. It's presumptuous and rude. You're getting put in this awkward position where you're expected to subsidize the wages of people who've done the bare minimum in order to fulfill the service I've already paid for. Tips used to be reserved for people that went out of their way to do a great job. Anyway, I opened the door today to a lady with no groceries in hand who instead greeted me abruptly asking if I'm planning on leaving a tip. I told her I tip based on the service I receive, which means I have to tip after she finishes the delivery. This woman loudly sucks her teeth and tells me I'm not getting my order until I give a tip. She's very adamant that I tip her in cash, and I asked her to deliver my groceries first, and she flat out refuses. I just stare at her in shock. We stand in silence awkwardly until I told her that I've already paid for my order and it's her job to make sure I get it regardless of what I tip. Before I can even finish my sentence, this lady walks away, shuts her trunk, and drives off. I spent the next half an hour being bounced around from person to person on the customer service chat, only to be told that I had to call in to resolve the problem. One disgruntled phone call later, and I finally got my refund and my driver reported. I'm done with tipping. I'm so tired of being guilted into paying on top of an already expensive bill just because the owners don't want to pay their workers a decent living. You can call me selfish or rude, but I'm past the point of being moved by social pressure to tip. From now on, I'll be discontinuing all tips. It's not fair to the customer or the employee. It relies on guilt and preys on people's fear of social awkwardness in order to fleece us. We should not be worrying that an employee won't deliver our order or spit in our food if we dare not tip. Prices go up, fine. I want to know exactly what I'm paying for something. No more not mandatory but actually mandatory gratuity. If enough of us do it, tipped employees will be motivated to demand compensation from the people who actually should be paying. It's not the customer's responsibility to pay your staff. Damn. Whatever the opinion on tipping or not tipping is, absolutely no way on earth should you have not received the order. This is just straight up the woman not doing the job she gets paid to do. Kroger delivery is awesome and they don't accept tips. They come to the door in a refrigerated box truck. All of my groceries have been fresh and delivered without issue. It's not even funny how right you are and how ridiculous tipping has gotten in the US. 100% agreed. Tips must be earned and shouldn't be standard. Business owners are just taking advantage of workers, and customer with this predatory practice, peace. I had a waitress yank my bill out of my hand to compare with the card terminal receipt. When she saw the numbers were the same, she scoffed at me and threw both slips of paper at me and then walked away. No, I didn't tip her because she got our orders wrong and never checked in with our table. But she visited every other table around us. This was not a teenager either. She was very much a senior. For reference, wait staff here are still paid at least minimum wage, and tipping is above and beyond. Should I ask my math teacher to adopt me? This might be kind of confusing story, and I debated posting this but decided why not. So I am 15 and my math teacher, who I will call V, F35, and her husband is M40. My real parents are, or were, abusive alcoholics and drug addicts. They got arrested last year and was going to enter the foster system, and now I had already told V about my struggles with my parents, and I confided in her about me going into foster care, so I guess she jumped in, and her and her husband somehow became my foster parents. I absolutely love living with them, and I feel like I have true family for the first time in what feels like forever. I really want to ask them to adopt me, but I'm unsure of it. For one thing, I'm incredibly nervous and very unconfrontational, and second, I know the foster system gives people money to take care of the child, so maybe they would be better off just staying foster parents. Also, they already make quite a bit, as my foster dad is a doctor. I just don't know what to do. Can anyone please give me advice? Even if you don't want to straight up ask them to adopt you, just telling them this, I absolutely love living with them, and I feel like I have true family for the first time in what feels like forever, is going to mean the world to them. Kid, you made a grown man cry. I'm so happy for you that you've been shown so much love that you want them to be your parents. Tell them. They might not be able to for a various amount of reasons, but they'll appreciate it so much. Whether they can adopt you or not, I have a feeling that they'll be with you for life. Math teacher here who adopted a 15-year-old student of mine. 10 out of 10 would recommend. That was 16 years ago and she's getting married in September. One of my closest sisters isn't blood related. She was our babysitter and her parents died in a fire. She became a ward of the state and lived with us all through college. My parents never adopted her, and while I'm not sure why, there are many variables, it doesn't matter. She's my sister. My mom introduces her to people as her daughter. My point is, no matter what happens, it doesn't define who your family is or who loves you. Your foster parents sound like amazing people who have shown they're there for you. Good luck, OP. Yes, you can tell them. Regardless of if they do or not, there's nothing wrong with letting them know how you feel. Glad you're doing great. My dad's girlfriend is really cool. I'm a teenage guy, and my dad's girlfriend is honestly the coolest person. For some background, my dad has a job that required him to be away from home for weeks at a time, and he and Mariah, girlfriend, have been together for 7 years. If you're wondering about my mom, she died when I was young. Mariah is really chill about homework and chores. We have lots of things in common. She acts in a motherly way towards me, and she even calls me Honey Bun as my nickname. She's also kind of a fitness nut and likes to work out and do yoga, and she even got me into it too. She makes the best food, and I like cooking with her. She treats my dad like how he deserves, and is literally the sweetest and most loving person in the world. She makes my family feel complete, and she even asked me to walk her down the aisle when she and my dad got married this summer. So at the request of others, I have decided decided to tell Mariah how much she means to me, and today she made me breakfast, and I told her, Mariah, I know I don't say it a lot, but you mean so much to me, and I think you're the coolest and most kindest person ever, and I love you so much, Mom. She had to stop eating because she started crying, and she hugged me and said that I will always be her boy. On top of that, she revealed that she's pregnant. I'm getting a sibling. She has told my dad, and he's also very excited, but dear God, I am just so freaking excited right now. Thank you so much, everyone who commented. I hope you all have an amazing day. There's a ton of negativity posted here, so refreshing to read something so nice. Being a step-parent takes adjusting. Sounds like you and your dad are very lucky. Lovely to hear, Opie. Thanks. This post brightened my day. I don't know why, I read this as my girlfriend's dad is really cool. Makes sense now rereading the post. I'm worried about my comprehension now. I'm so happy there's no dark side. Thank you for sharing this. Man, I've been on the internet way too much. I expected this to go in a very different direction. So glad to hear you have a great relationship with her. Neither of my kids get along with my second wife, and I wish she and they hit it off the way you and your stepmom to be do. That's it for today's video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!